All right, so let's get into this Jets-Vikings game. So the Vikings did not play well offensively at all. It was their worst performance offensively of the year, and that has a lot to do with the Jets' defense being very good. The Jets should have come back and won this game. There's no doubt in my mind that should have been the result, but the Jets' offense is it's a mess. It's in disarray. Aaron Rodgers, I know he had 13 completions to Garrett Wilson, but still there's times where they're not on the same page. Of course, the Mike Williams throw, the Stephon Gilmore interception. Aaron Rodgers, to me, it looks as old as he's ever looked. He gets just absolutely waylaid a couple times. I honestly thought he tore his ACL when his knee bent in that way and he was screaming and he grabbed the back of his leg. I was like, he tore his ACL. But thank God he comes back into the game. So, from my perspective, the offense is out of sync, and he looks old and beat up. I know you see it from the player's perspective and a quarterback's perspective, so let me hear what you saw yesterday.
Well, like I was saying earlier, I don't think that they're all that creative when it comes to offensive game planning and
sort of like Garrett Wilson said, right?
Well, it's formations, it's different groupings of players on the field. Breece Hall is basically non-existent for some reason, and there could be a lot of reasons for that. I don't necessarily know that he deserves to be on the field as much as he is right now, which is really disappointing because everybody was counting on him. It really comes down to one play. Garrett Wilson is going wide open down the right sideline, and Aaron Rodgers overthrows him. Now, I know he was under pressure, but, those are the plays that, need to be made in order to win games, especially in a game in where you're grinding. They're grinding, and I keep saying this is only the fifth game that they have been together. It feels like Aaron Rodgers has been here for 30 years.
Yeah.
But he has not. He's only played 5 games, and 2 out of those 5 games, I thought that they were getting better because they were really balanced. They were running the ball effectively, and they weren't throwing the ball a lot. And then when you looked at the post-game statistics, what you saw is you saw a lot of guys involved. You saw the running game that was a big part of their success, and they weren't throwing the ball 50 times. There was a point in this game where I know they were playing catch-up where I think they had 18 passing attempts in a row, or maybe it was 19 before they ran the ball. But they had the ball at the end. You have a Hall of Fame quarterback, and this is a game that you expect to win. I expected them to win the game 24-23.
Yeah, they should have. Yeah.
And unfortunately, he throws a really bad ball to Williams down the sideline where it has to be a high and outside throw or a low and outside throw. It can't be a low and inside throw because then it gives the defensive back a chance to make the interception, which Stephon Gilmore did. So, yeah, I still think they're out of sync, but they're out of sync because they're unbalanced. They can't run the ball. They couldn't run the ball against the Broncos. Then they were playing catch-up here against the Vikings, especially late in the game. The other thing about this particular game is that the defense gave up 16 points.
Yeah.
He threw another interception that was returned for a touchdown.
Yep.
And we've seen Van Ginkel do this now twice.
I was thinking about getting a jersey, the Van Ginkel jersey.
I mean, he did it against the Giants, and then he did it against the Jets.
And what a tremendous signing. They got him off the Dolphins last year. Just phenomenal.
Smart play. He's a really smart player. And if you listen to some of the Vikings talking after the game on defense, is they have a number of different players that they can interchange doing different things because they understand the concepts of what Brian Flores is trying to do. Brian Flores had him down in Miami. So he knows him, and he knows, hey, look, when I call this defense, you can do this. You can go up here. You can play there. And he's kind of playing, Van Ginkel is kind of free and easy. Like he understands what's happening around him, and he puts himself in great position. I mean, the interception on Daniel Jones in Week 1 was ridiculous. That's more on Daniel than anybody else because that was behind the line of scrimmage.
Still got to be in the right position to make the play.
But he read the play.
Yeah.
So he reads the play here, and quite frankly, This was the interception, and if you remember, I think it was against the Dolphins. The Titans were playing the Dolphins. I think it was a Sunday night or a Monday night game. It was one of the primetime games. And Will Levis, in the beginning of the game, throws an interception to a defensive tackle.
Yep.
Because they're doing this interchange defense where we call it a fire zone when I played, where they show you one thing and they bring somebody and they drop somebody off into coverage. But Van Ginkel basically duped Aaron Rodgers. And you would think, being around for 20 years, you're not going to get duped by that kind of defensive play. But that shows me that they're still not in sync offensively, or they don't have enough answers for Aaron to go to another play.
Yeah, and I know this has been a talking point with Rob Saleh since he's been here, but it's getting even more frustrating as this team is scuffling. What does he do on game day? What does he do? He just loiters. He keeps his arms crossed. He stares. Occasionally, he claps after a good play and slaps the hands of the defense of the offense coming off the field. I never see him talking to anybody. I never see him with an iPad talking to anybody about anything. He does nothing. And this is not just a knock for the hell of knocking Rob Saleh. Watch every other head coach in the game, and they are more active and into the football game than this guy is.
But here's the one thing I will say that I do appreciate. If I were a coordinator that worked underneath him, I would appreciate the fact that he's allowing me to do the things that I get paid to do, and that's make decisions. So he's letting Jeff Albrecht call the defense, and I'm sure he's talking to him on the headset. You may not see it, but they're talking, and he's talking with people.
Doesn't talk to any of the players.
I'm not saying that he's not talking to the players. I'm just telling you he is talking to the coaches. He is engaged with the coaches, and he is engaged with, are we going for it? Are we not going for it? Do we want to blitz? Do we not want to blitz? Maybe not so much on the offensive side because that's not his side of the game.
Yeah.
But I did hear yesterday, I think it was in the pregame, where they were talking about, what Aaron Rodgers has said about working with a defensive head coach, and that the fact that the defensive head coach will actually sit in the quarterback meetings and give a defensive perspective to the quarterbacks, which according to, I think it was Kurt Warner yesterday, Aaron Rodgers says he likes that. So I don't know how much is BS. I don't know how much they're just trying to fight off all the negativity and saying all the right things publicly, but behind the scenes there's probably some tension because losing games like this and throwing 3 interceptions and the offense looking listless like it did yesterday as it had against Denver, that is troublesome. Without question.
Yeah, and Aaron Rodgers is not going to make it through the season. I'm not saying he's going to have a season-ending injury, but he's going to miss time. He's getting his ass kicked. And to come off an Achilles, to be the age that he is, to be limping around and getting the snot kicked out of you every week. I mean, he really was in a position to have a massive season-ending injury yesterday with that knee. And he's getting killed. And I mean, the offensive line for the Jets is below average, and that's being kind.
But here's the thing that I told you about when you watch Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Eli Manning play. The reason that they lasted as long as they did, and the reason that Aaron has lasted as long as he did, is because, well, Aaron was a little bit more of an escapability quarterback, which he has shown a little bit this year. There's no question about that. But even you said this at the beginning of the season. I'm always going to reflect back on this because I thought this is a very smart thing that you said about playing quarterback, and I didn't really think about it. But he's got to play the game more the way that Tom Brady played the game the last 6 or 7 years of his career. And that is in the pocket, getting rid of the football. Do not hold on to football.
And they did that late in the game. I mean, but just not well enough. And the problem is, too, when you don't run the ball effectively at all.
But, I thought late in the game before the interception, as he was throwing, they did run a running play in there, and they gained a first down, I think. Mm-hmm. But I felt like they finally got like some rhythm going in the passing game. Remember how we were talking about who was it that threw like 50 passes? Caleb Williams threw 50 passes in a game and they lost. And I think maybe it was against Houston or somebody. I forget who it was 2 or 3 weeks ago. And I'm like, I was really happy that Caleb threw that many times in a game because I want him to kind of finally get into a rhythm that he can do it in an NFL game. And he's gotten progressively better since that time. Do you remember when Mark Sanchez and the Jets went down to Baltimore and they got hammered on a Sunday or Monday night?
He was never the same after that.
Right, but because he had a defensive head coach and he was talking about grounding and pounding, and I'm like, oh, my God, this is going to ruin the quarterback. The quarterback should have came back the next week, and even if you lost, I want Mark Sanchez throwing the ball 50 times because I want him to get back into his rhythm and to feel like, hey, this is my team and this is the passing game. So I kind of felt like the Jets at least had that in the fourth quarter yesterday, that things were moving. Now, here's the one thing I think that they should do. If they're going to run their offense the way that they're running it, which is pretty much bland vanilla when it comes to creativity with formations and personnel groups, and this is my opinion, I would go as fast as I possibly could because Aaron Rodgers could call these plays quickly, and I would do no huddle, and I would get him going, and I would try to use his brain power at the line of scrimmage and go quickly to force defenses not to be able to get creative themselves and confuse the offense the way that it has been the last 2 weeks against the Broncos and the Vikings.
All right, I'm going to preface this by saying I don't believe that every national broadcaster hates your team. I actually thought it was very funny when Boog Sciambi said, I know that everybody thinks that we're rooting against both the Brewers and the Mets, and we hate your team, and people think Joe Buck roots against your team and all of that stuff. It doesn't happen. These guys are professionals. They're national broadcasters. They do not hate your team. You're just used to your local announcers. However, you cannot have a Jets fan call a Jets game. You can't. And I went in there with an open mind thinking that Rich Eisen would be professional about it. He just wasn't. And I don't even know who to blame. I don't even know if I can blame him because he's a diehard Jets fan. And you can't, stop that. I mean, he's talked about that on his show for years and years and years. He's been outward about it. He's fired up about the team when they win. He's downtrodden when they lose. He's very emotional about the team. There was no doubt. And I'm not going to make and we're on remote today, and I'm not going to make guys sift through the audio. There were several instances where the Jets go 3 and out, and Rich Eisen goes,
"It's disgusted."
He's like, and the Jets go 3 and out, and when the Vikings go 3 and out, he's like, and the Vikings go 3 and out, and there's some life here for the Jets, and I'm like, come on, man.
Now I didn't think I got that from Rich. I understand. I didn't get that from Kurt.
No,
Kurt was
of course
fine.
not.
I think Kurt brings a lot to a
Kurt
broadcast.
was great.
Yes,
He was
okay,
fine. I
okay,
you just
right,
can't. So, I'm mad at Rich Eisen, but at the same time, someone at the NFL Network, you can't have a Jets fan calling a Jets game.
I don't know who else they have, by the way.
Dust off anybody. I don't care.
Dust off anybody.
I mean, someone who's not a Jets fan.
That'd be like having Mike Greenberg do the game, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Joe Beningo.
Oh, could you imagine that?
I mean, you freaking kidding me? I mean, this idiot. What a loser. Oh, here we go now. Here we go. There's freaking Van Ginkel now in the end zone. Of course. Of course it's a guy named Van Ginkel. Couldn't just be Jones or Smith. It's got to be Van Ginkel. What's with the hair, bro? Cut the hair. This is 1968. Bro. Anyway, so yeah, that just annoyed me as a fan yesterday watching the game. It's like, dude.
All right, so you're coming from the Viking perspective, so I would think that a lot of the Jet fans appreciated it.
Maybe, yeah. Which is, I don't think they appreciated anything yesterday. The Jets fan, it was a miserable football game, and it was another tough watch. And I did love Justin Jefferson after the game. This is why I love this guy. He basically said, we got a bye week, and it'll be nice to have the time off, but I don't really even want it right now because we got to get better. We were bad offensively today, and I want to get in and look at the film and get better. And I was like, I wanted to reach through the screen and hug the guy.
The only thing that could have been worse had Sam Darnold throw, for 290 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, he looked like he got hurt again, too, yesterday.
He got
scaring
drilled.
The hell out of me. And
he got drilled. I think he got the wind knocked out of him, and he may have a bruised rib or something.
Yeah, and then Nick Mullins came in for a snap.
And what did he do? He throws the ball down the sideline. If that were the Jet backup quarterback coming in and doing that, that would have been intercepted.
Yeah, it's funny. So Kevin O'Connell, in a way, he's got a little bit of the Kyle Shanahan in him. It's like whoever goes in there is going to have some sort of success. Remember back in the day where it was actually Mullins was there too in San Francisco, and that C.J. Beathard.
Yes.
They was throwing all these bums out there, but they would have success, like a minimal success, but better than any other team that would have those guys. You kind of get a little bit of the same thing with Kevin O'Connell, whether it's Mullins or Joshua Dobbs or whoever it is. They'll find a way to get up and down the field because he's such a great coach.
You know what was great? That the NFL Network did show the 2010 Hard Knocks, where Mike Tannenbaum was cutting Kevin O'Connell.
Yeah.
He brought him in.
Yeah,
he goes, hey, you got beat up by this guy. You got beat up by that guy. It's good to see it, everything. Next thing you know, now he's the head coach.
Yeah,
and Mike Tannenbaum's sitting there, on ESPN.
Yep.
I mean, who's got the last laugh?
Yeah,
and actually, who's got, he is a really good coach.
Yeah, without a doubt. He's a coddle guy, but a great coach.
Big coddle guy, I understand.
But it's working.
Did you have your sweats on yesterday?
No, I did not. No,
okay.
I didn't have my sweat. I wore them Friday.
I know, but those are like lounging around sweats. That would have been perfect.
Yeah. No, I know. I wore it all day Friday.
Let me ask you a question. Do you like a 9:30 game?
No, don't.
I was playing with a bunch of guys golf yesterday, from the West Coast. And they were saying the best part about NFL Sunday is that we get up early and it's over by 8:30 at night.
Well, it being over early is great. Yeah. But no, I don't love the 9:30 game. I wish every game could be played at 1 o'clock.
You get up and have like a little avocado toast and coffee and watch your game.
Because then the day is just so long. It's like, and then you get to the Met game too. It was too much. Everything needed to start at 1 o'clock yesterday.
Time out. We can't complain that it's too much because we always complain it's not enough.
No. I'm saying
we never have teams. Like
you asked me if I wanted the 9:30 game.
Okay.
The 9:30 game I didn't like. If it was played at 1, it would have been fine for me.
Just don't come back at me like it's too much. It's not too much.
It's too much to start at 9:30 and be done at 8
playoff
o'clock.
baseball in October.
It's too long of a day. I would rather start at 1 o'clock. Get the other stuff, get the adult stuff out, and then start at 1 o'clock. That's
By the
all.
way, did you see my boy Precious Achua go off against the Hornets?
Oh, my God. You're amazing. Boomer and Gio on the Fan and
You weren't
CBS Sports
watching?
Network.